Hey guys, welcome to the week 11 recap, and it is the trade deadline. We already started it off with a bang. I traded maybe a little bit too much to get an average wide receiver in Chase Claypool, but hey, if you got a guy, go get them, right? Let's hope that we have some more news come in during these coming games. Also, speaking of games, it is Thanksgiving. That means 6 teams are going to play on Thursday, so you have to check your lineups before then. Now, on to the recap where we have special guest Andrew Burr taking the place of Dan Monin today. And let me just say he is excited to do so. Andrew analyzes fantasy just as much, if not more, than the top guys in the league. So I'm excited to see him recap some of the matchups. But first, since we're so close to the playoffs, here are the top 6 so far after the last round of matchups. We have Ryan at number 1, Alex at number 2. Those are the top 2. Those are the division winners right there. And then 3, David. 4, Andrew. 5, me. And 6, Reedy. Let's get into the recap.
Before I get into my first matchup this week, just want to send a thank you to Brian. I appreciate the opportunity. I'm so happy that I'm getting paid for this large sum of money to be the Tony Romo to your Jim Nantz. With that, let's kick it off with Brian himself. We have Brian versus Austin Reedy. 2 words to sum up this matchup. He's Cam. Brian changes the team name to dig right back at Reedy for saying Cam's washed. Not so fast. Cam Newton drops 30. Only person to come remotely close to that on Reedy's team is Justin Jefferson, who balled out, but the rest of his team did not. Also helping out Brian's huge win is Austin Eckler. Hard to lose when you get a guy scoring 4 touchdowns. Not to mention, he still had solid contributions from Mike Williams, game-winning touchdown against his Steelers, Debo, and DJ Moore. Just a solid all-around matchup. Reedy, on the other hand, besides Jefferson, Godwin and Lockett do all right, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players on your fave team, Reedy's team, scored under 5 points. Not the key to victory there. Brian, with He's Cam, comes away with the victory. Highest point scorer this week, 147.36 to 85.74.
Alex versus Chad. Let's get to this matchup where co-owners technically went up against each other. Alex performed much better this week compared to last. He had DeAndre Swift, who's having a surprising season, and Deontay Johnson and Jalen Waddle, both with touchdowns. They led his team this week, all with greater than 15 points scored. Also, let's not forget about Tom Brady, who, as usual, puts up a respectable point total despite his age. Chad started out hot. As I pointed out in the group chat, he had the best player that was able to be played on Thursday, and Nick Folk. The Pats D is not a player, and they were on someone's bench. And yes, kickers do count, I guess. Other than that, Dalvin Cook and Stephon Diggs were good, as always still, but everyone else was terrible, including the Bills D, who had a negative 4-point total, and they were supposed to be a lock this week against the Colts. These scores brought Chad to a season-low 75.3, while Alex's team gave him a solid 116 points, giving him the win this week. Alex's 7-4 record keeps him in the number 2 spot, while this lot puts Chad to 6-5, and he is just out of the playoffs. Yes, the playoffs are still this close.
My next matchup is David Quentin's Pancake House versus Keegan's Hanging with Hernandez. Closest matchup of the week. Less than 10 points decided it. Starting off with David's team. He's trying to, live and die with that Packers stack, and you thought he'd live with it with Aaron Rodgers scoring 41.5, Devontae Adams with 27, but he could not eke out the victory. Keegan pulls it off behind performances of 20-plus points from Darnell Mooney. And, of course, Mr. Zach Ertz, Arizona man himself, 24.8, balling out with 2 touchdowns. Really helped put him over the top. Not to mention Thielen almost scoring 20 points as well. Really close matchup. What really killed David there was Ravens defense scored a respectable 7 points, but he left the Patriots on his bench, who scored 26. That would have been the decider and would have given him the victory. David moves to 7-4. Keegan moves to 5-6, both in the playoff hunt.
One of the highest scores this week belonged to Dan Saul and his team of Clyde and Seek. But before this recap of this game, I just want to point out that Clyde Edwards-Helaire, of course, is on his team, put up a solid 15 points, but he was not only on your bench, he was on the IR of your team. Must be time to get him activated. Anyway, Dan Saul's favorite QB of all time, maybe besides Phillip Rivers, Justin Herbert put up the league-high 40 points against the Steelers. James Conner continues to score touchdowns every week, while Mark Ingram was pretty solid in place of Alvin Kamara as well. Not only that, Travis Kelce is really looking to keep his title as tight end one, that streak going. He scored the most positional points again. Devin struggled, though. Despite a huge 24-point showing from Joe Mixon, no one else really showed up, including Patrick Mahomes. We thought that this drought for the Chiefs might have been over, but maybe they have some work to do. With Kyle Pitts not performing well on the Falcons, Devin decided to trade for Dawson Knox and get a solid wide receiver addition with DJ Moore, who has Cam Newton now. Hopefully this will keep your team from losing the whole thing as he moves to second to last in the standings. Dan wins 131.7 to 95. 6-5 Dan Saul still pushing towards the playoffs as Devin 3-8 is hoping just not to get in last.
My next matchup is the anti-vax all-pro team of Ryan and the P-Town Golden Taint by Ethan. Ethan had a respectable showing, but could not overcome 9 straight losses. Ryan had, Jonathan Taylor. 5 touchdowns. You really should be kicked out of the league if you're going to lose with Jonathan Taylor on your team this week. He's still rolling in all the money with that awesome first and second turn round draft picks of Najee and Jonathan Taylor. Najee still scores about 15, but Jonathan Taylor over 50. You're not going to lose that way. Ethan over here, his 2 best players came to play. His quarterback, Jalen Hurts, 30 points. Rushing touchdowns galore. Nick Chubb, 21.4 points. Keenan Allen got involved, 15.6 points. Again, not a bad showing at all, but you're not going to overcome Jonathan Taylor. Reach out to Ethan. He says Russ is on the block because he doesn't need him. He's got Jalen Hurts. Okay? That puts Ethan down to 2-9. 0% chance of making the playoffs. Only a few weeks left. With Ryan, the clear number 1 seed at 8-3.
You know what? I thought I'd get a break from this week from covering Dan Monen's squad, but he played Andrew, who can't cover his own team this week. But this time, there won't be as much criticism for Dan's squad. Formerly last place, Dan Monen is doing all the right things as of late, and honestly, might still get into the playoffs. Reedy, he personally told me that he was gunning for your spot. Dan had Christian McCaffrey and Elijah Moore combined for 46 points, while tight end Darren Waller might have gotten out of his drought, scoring 15 points, as he was expecting at the beginning of the season. At the beginning of the games, Andrew was sitting pretty. He was tied for first, but his team had other plans, scoring a combined total of 70.3 points. Not only a season low for him, but the season low of the week. The only notable performance was his first-round pick in Tyreek Hill, who put up 15 points, but he also had Brandon Ayuk. Wait, is he still in the doghouse? Nope, I guess he scored 18 points. Andrew must not have been a believer yet as he had him on his bench. Andrew, what were you thinking? Dan wins this 123.9 to 70.3. Dan moves to 3-8, moves up to third from last, but could see a hot streak coming, while Andrew is now 7-4, and he is holding on to the number 4 seed in the playoffs.
Hope everyone has a wonderful Thanksgiving. Good luck on the Thanksgiving games. We'll be back at you next week.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. Comments in the group chat how you guys think me and Andrew did, especially Andrew since it's his first time. I thought he did very well. Will we see some trades coming? I sure hope so. And lastly, happy Thanksgiving. Thankful for you guys. See ya.